Welcome into Locked On Phillies. Got some bad news, folks. The Philadelphia Phillies, for the first time in a long time, have been no-hit by the New York Mets at that. Not an ideal start in New York, to say the least. All of your recaps on what went on in a bad night for the Phillies last night in today's Locked On Phillies.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, this is Locked On Phillies. I am your host, Connor Thomas. Thank you for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. I don't know what I'm going to tell you guys today. This was a bad night for the Philadelphia Phillies. Following a series where they 4 games swept the Colorado Rockies. The offense was on fire. They seemed like they would never lose again. They seemed like they were a guarantee for 5-6 runs every game. They were second in Major League Baseball, trailing only the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim in runs scored. They could never get no hit, right? And if they got no hit, it'd be by one guy having a great day, not multiple pitchers, right? Well, apparently wrong. The Philadelphia Phillies got no hit last night by their rival New York Mets. It was a quick game. It was a painful game. It was a game that we would like to move on and forget. But in the position that I'm in, unfortunately, we can't move on. We can't forget. We have to recap it. We have to go through what went wrong. So where do we begin? First of all, Tyler McGill is turning into Jacob deGrom light. He looks like him. He throws like him. He's got not exactly the same pitch inventory, but he's a hard-throwing player that seems to just miss bats on command. And I don't know how this team gets to this guy. They haven't hit him in the first couple starts they've seen him now. And he's just looked absolutely dominant. But the real issue is McGill only went 5 innings pitched. They pulled him after 5 innings with a no-hitter going. And part of the reason being, well, he had already had 88 pitches through 5 innings, and he'd walked 3 batters. Like, the Phillies had opportunities, I guess, if you call it that. They had base runners. There's another walk, 2 walks, 3 walks out of the bullpen when I'm counting back. It's hard to even keep track of that because you're just so focused on no hits whatsoever. So they had 6 base runners in this one. We're close to a perfect game, but just getting no hit is honestly, for this roster, preposterous. Listen to the lineup that the Phillies rolled out in yesterday's game. Jean Segura batted close to maybe over 300 last year, if I remember. Rhys Hoskins, great hitter. Bryce Harper, reigning MVP. Nick Castellanos, reigning right fielder for the NL All-Star team. JT Realmuto, best offensive catcher in baseball, probably, if not one of the top 2 or 3. Kyle Schwarber, absolute monster at the plate, power hitter. Alec Bohm, one of the better starts to a season for any player on this Phillies roster. Didi Gregorius, longtime vet. Odubel Herrera, no slouch at the plate. Johan Camargo pinch hits for Odubel Herrera. He was batting over 300 just a couple days ago. Matt Vierling gets a swing, a little bit of a power hitter last year and has the opportunity to be a solid major league hitter. This is not the Baltimore Orioles or the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's almost unfathomable that this team got no hit, and not just by one guy, a combined no-hitter. And you know what? It happens. You got to tip your cap. They showed up. The Mets showed out on the mound. They did what they had to do. Let me just do some quick math here. 13, 5, 18, 17, 35, plus 36, 71, plus 88, 159 pitches by my math, which is probably wrong. in a combined no-hitter, that's a lot of pitches. That's a lot of opportunities to get a hit. That's a lot of all over the place. That's a lot of not being that commanding. Part of the thing that you see when teams no-hit somebody is you see very low pitch counts into the later innings. Guys come in the seventh inning with like 70 pitches. Guys come into the eighth inning with like 80 to 90 pitches. Guys get into the ninth inning with like 95 to 100 pitches, and they get a chance to finish it out to complete a no-hitter. This wasn't one of those cases. The starter got pulled after 5 innings, and frankly, the Phillies just got straight up dominated by the New York Mets on this night. Not offensively, because you take a look at the pitching matchup, Aaron Nola did not have a bad game in this one. Looking at what he did as far as the final line, he went 6 innings pitched, and I know he had 3 earned. He struck out 9 in this one. He walked none. He had a strong outing, which is, I guess, no, it's not, I guess. It's definitely encouraging. Like, Aaron Nola still looked good. Bottom of the 5th was the first time the Mets scored a run, and Jeff McNeil singled to center, scoring 2 players. And then the only other run in this one was the bottom of the 6th off of Nola. Pete Alonso hit a home run. But that just makes it 3-0. The Phillies should be able to handle a 3-0 deficit. The fact that they got no hit in this one, it sucks. It straight up sucks. There's no other way to say it, because this is not an indictment of what this Phillies team is offensively. It's just one of those nights where you can't draw anything positively offensively out of this game. I really don't know what else to say besides that on this one. This is just sometimes a pitcher or a couple pitchers come out on the mound and they absolutely shove. I feel like I'm almost talking in circles because there's so little to take out of this game that I'm out of words. When was the last time I'm trying to think about the last time the Phillies got no hit. And I should have had this before we came on. That's on me. But the last time the Phillies got no hit was a long time ago. It doesn't feel recently. And you don't often see, like, it's rare to see a no-hitter against your team. There's only a handful in Major League Baseball. And kudos to the Mets. This is only their second no-hitter in franchise history for the New York Mets. I believe the last one was a Johan Santana no-hitter. You know what? There's one thing we can do at this point, because clearly I'm not articulating very well anything. It's because the Phillies weren't swinging it well, and even though they played solid defense and Aaron Nola pitched well, there's nothing positive to take out of games where you got no hit. And there's only so much you can say. Here's what we're going to do right now. We're going to agree. We're going to all agree. You listening, me here, anyone viewing on YouTube, we're going to all agree to this as a pact. We're moving on. The Phillies got no hit. It's done. It's in the past. It's only one game. There's 2 more games of the series to try and take. They can still win the series. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to wipe it. We're going to move on. The Phillies got no hit. We leave it in the past. It's going to be the last time they get no hit this year. You can take that to the bank. I'm going to make that a CT guarantee. This team doesn't get no hit for the rest of the year. And we're just going to put it in the closet, put it way back there behind the shirts and the pants and everything, and just forget about it. Just hide it way back there where we don't have to worry about it anymore, because it's just a rough night. But what we're going to talk about next, we're going to talk about an opportunity to take one. I circled this on the calendar, on the schedule, as the winnable game, the most winnable game for the Philadelphia Phillies in this series. So let's take a look at why they can possibly take game 2 of this series based on the pitching matchup, the lineup, everything that we've got. So we're going to jump into that next. And again, we're leaving that no-hitter, the combined no-hitter that the Mets threw, behind us as of this moment. Now, no more no-hitter talk. Fair? Fair. All right, let's get into game 2 next. Before that, though, I want to talk about Built Bar. Maybe the Phillies just didn't have their Built Bars yesterday, and that's why they got no hit. Built Bar will help you with all of that, though. Well, the main thing it'll help you is get into great shape, because Built Bar tastes great. They got 100% real chocolate on all of their bars that they put out, but they also have great nutritional value. 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, 17 grams of protein. All that for just like 240 calories as well on the puffs. You cannot beat those numbers. There's just nothing out there better. Really, if there was a baseball game and Built Bar was on one side and the other protein bars were on the other side, Built Bar would no-hit them just like the Phillies no-hit the Mets. I know I'm breaking my own rule talking about the no-hitter again. But that's how good Built Bar is. It's incredible, and it tastes great. And you know why it tastes great? Because that's Built Bar's goal. They make it taste great first, and then they figure out the rest. And I don't know how, but they pull it off every single time. So what I want you to do is I want you to go to built.com and get all of your favorites: banana cream pie, raspberry, double chocolate, so many great flavors. They're all delicious, and new flavors are coming out all the time. Check them out at built.com, and you can put in promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off your order at built.com. Use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at built.com. You know what today is, guys? You probably don't, but it's my mom's birthday. Big day. And you know what I did? I went ahead and I went to Blue Nile and I got her a nice little tennis bracelet. She doesn't really have bracelets. She's more of an earrings girl. So I went ahead and I bought that for her because, well, Blue Nile has a great partnership with us here at Locked On. And they're amazing. It's so easy to go to BlueNile.com, use their website, and find the perfect everyday wear jewelry piece for that special woman in your life. Mother's Day is coming up. I love my mom, and I'd celebrate her birthday any day. But somewhat unluckily for me, her birthday's right by Mother's Day, so I got to absolutely show out this time of the year. But the good news is I got Blue Nile to help me do it. They've got tennis bracelets, earrings, necklaces, rings, everything you need to get your woman for a perfect gift that's her forever piece, one that she'd wear for the rest of her life, because this jewelry is amazing. It's great quality. It's not expensive. You can afford it. And I got a great deal for you as well, because Blue Nile wants to set you up and they want your mom to be happy this Mother's Day. So they set you up with the great setup just for listening to Locked On. This Mother's Day, you can give mom something she'll treasure forever. And Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off your order of $500. This podcast exclusive is only good through Mother's Day, so you want to make sure you take advantage now. But you just have to use code LOCKED ON. That's code LOCKED ON. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. So shop stress-free, and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today. Okay, so tonight's game, as I'm recording this Saturday morning, we have a matchup that we've already seen this year. The pitching matchup in this one is Taijuan Walker versus Ranger Suarez. And we saw this one a couple weeks ago as the Phillies took on the New York Mets in Citizens Bank Park. So we've got our first data point, really, of the year. And we had a little bit on Tyler McGill and Aaron Nola. We'd already seen that one. But first came up there at Citi Field, and Nola seeming a lot better, a lot more settled in, rather, as a starting pitcher for the Phillies this season. Sometimes it takes a while for guys to get fully settled, and it seems like Nola's got to that point. This is the first one, though, where it's like, okay, you kind of know what to expect from these two starting pitchers. Well, let's talk through what they did last time against each other and see if the Phillies have a real opportunity. Taijuan Walker, this kind of hurts a little bit after what happened last night, but he went 2 innings pitched. He had an injury in this one that really pulled him out of that game prior to when he would have gotten pulled. Only 30 pitches thrown. And he had a little bit of an issue that caused him to be removed from this game. Clearly, he's fine. He's continuing to pitch. He's still with the Mets and not on the injured list or anything like that. But he didn't give up a hit in his earlier start against the Phillies. Not only that, he struck out 4 Phillies batters in only 2 innings. Not a great sign for the Phillies' chances tonight. Ranger Suarez, on the other hand, only went 2 2/3 innings. He gave up 5 hits. He gave up 3 runs, all earned, 1 walk, 1 K. So it doesn't look good. It looks like, based on what we saw in the first matchup between these two starters, well, advantage Mets, right? Not so fast. Because here's how I'm going to flip this around. I'm trying to be positive. You know, the Sixers, Joel Embiid got hurt. He might miss the second round against Miami. The Eagles, they're having a great draft. Still, it feels far away from the season and everything. But it's easy to be negative when it comes to Philadelphia sports, especially when it feels like, oh, we had a great day. We swept the Colorado Rockies in 4 games, and then all of a sudden you come out and your superstar basketball player is hurt and your baseball team gets no hit. Well, I'm choosing to be positive in this one. The good news is, despite Taijuan Walker going 2 innings, 4 Ks, and Ranger Suarez going 2 2/3 innings, 1K and 3 runs given up, the Phillies still came back to win that ball game. They still found a way to get there. So it makes me feel like, well, even if Taijuan Walker absolutely dices the Phillies batters up, you never know. As long as they hang in the game, they've got a chance. It felt like even towards, okay, well, maybe not that late because you kind of felt momentum in the 8th and the 9th inning. But let's say the 6th and the 7th inning, it felt like the Phillies had a legitimate chance to come back in that one. And that's because they did. 3 runs is not enough to put this team away. And even though they ended up getting no hit, because of the power of their offense, they had a chance in last night's ball game. So the good news is you've already seen them overcome a strong, even though it was short, pitching performance by Taijuan Walker. The downside is he looked really good and he looked like he was handling these hitters. And if he does that over the course of 5 or 6 innings, they're probably going to lose tonight. But you can't project that out. All you know is they came back against the bullpen in the last game that Taijuan Walker started, and they overcame a bad start from Ranger Suarez. And I guarantee you this. Ranger Suarez, this is my second CT guarantee of the episode. I already guaranteed you they're not going to get no hit again this year. Well, I guarantee you Ranger Suarez is not going to have as bad of an outing as he did in the first game against the Mets tonight. That's it. I firmly believe that. He cannot be that bad because he's a better pitcher than that. So those combine, and it gives the Phillies a good chance to win. By my calculations, like they already won a game where Walker was good, Ranger was bad, and they both went short. Well, if Walker's good and Ranger's good, that gives them a better chance to win. Simple math or logic. I don't really think that's math, but you know what I'm saying. The Phillies absolutely have a chance in this one. And the good news as well, there's a great term in baseball. I love it. They don't really use it in too many other sports. I mean, it's thrown around, but really the prominence is in baseball because you can very easily quantify at bats and you have time in between them and there's an order. Like in basketball, a player isn't really due to hit a couple of shots. They could have a rough performance, you're like, they'll bounce back, but it's not one player shoots, then another player shoots, then another player shoots, and it comes back around to your turn in the order. Same with hockey. There's no perfect time for every player to shoot. Same with football. There's no specific play for every player drawn up in a row. Baseball is the only sport where you know exactly when you're going to get your next opportunity. After this guy hits, after this many outs, after this many at-bats. So that's the term due. That's why it's used so often in baseball, because you can clearly quantify when the player is going to get his next opportunity. And the Phillies offense is the definition of due. They just spent a night getting no hit. They're absolutely due to break through tonight. And having scored the second most runs in baseball, you got to believe they're going to get on the board tonight. You have to. I refuse to believe that it's a possibility that they follow up getting no hit by being shut out. So that's your good news. Despite Taijuan Walker looking good, despite Ranger Suarez looking bad, we're in a new series, a new game, and the Philadelphia Phillies, while they came into this one hot, they immediately cooled off to almost frozen. Well, basically frozen. They could have been frozen at the plate, and they still would have had the same number of hits. They've got a chance to bounce back tonight, and I do think they will. So if they take this one, you get Scherzer and Eflin. I laugh because that Scherzer-Eflin matchup doesn't exactly favor the Phillies, but you get Scherzer-Eflin to finish out the series. And hey, if you go into that 1-1, cool. I'll take our chances to win a series there. It doesn't favor you, but it's better than going in 2-0 after having major issues offensively. So fingers crossed that works out for the Phillies. On the other side, we're going to talk about our off-the-pole segment. We talked defense, which maybe we should have talked offense instead with what the Phillies did offensively in yesterday's game. But we asked about Didi, Gregorius, and Johan Camargo. I'll explain an issue that we had with Off the Pole because this is on me and it's also on whoever owns Twitter now. I don't know that it's Elon Musk yet, whoever owns Twitter, but I got a little beef with them because of some trouble with the Off the Pole segment. I'll explain all of it and what came out of our discussion yesterday about defense at shortstop on the other side. But also, I want to thank you again for making Locked On Phillies your first listen. Make sure you also check out Locked On Nows. Locked On Nows are your immediate reaction source for news. After every game, you're going to get Locked On hosts' immediate reaction to the going on around Major League Baseball. As soon as the game goes final, You know what I do? I hop on my phone right here and I go ahead and I say what I feel about the Philadelphia Phillies. And that raw reaction, well, I send it to our hosts of Locked On Now. And not only do they send it back to me, but they put it into a nice little package to present with all of the other nows from around Major League Baseball. It's your immediate reaction. It's coverage you don't get anywhere else. And the best part, you don't have to go only one place to find it. It's available wherever you get your podcast. So check out Locked On Nows. It's one of our signature parts of the Locked On Network. And it's definitely worth checking out to keep up on Major League Baseball in general. Thank you as well to another sponsor of this episode, Bet Online. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all of your sporting information, your bets, your stats, everything you need. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, news, including this year's basketball playoffs. I just told you about what happened with Joel Embiid. If you want to bet Miami, I can't blame you. It's a great spot for them. Or if you want to bet the Sixers with really, really good odds, hoping Embiid will come back and be healthy, do that as well. And you've also got all the latest Major League Baseball props and everything for this season, with the season fully underway. All the best information is over at BetOnline. That's because BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sporting wagering information, from live betting to playoffs to even esports and more. Head over to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. It's really the best place that you can find all of the latest information that you need on the sporting world and how you can profit off of it. It's not just the players getting paid. You can get paid like the players if you handle it the right way and you go check out Bet Online. Bet Online, where the game starts. Okay, so I'm going to be straight up. We had a little bit of an issue, or we've been having a little bit of an issue with the Locked On Phillies Twitter account, my personal Twitter account as well, with a Twitter update that has given me some trouble with the polls. So Twitter has just recently updated, and I couldn't post the off the poll segment as an actual poll question. So normally what I would do is I would post the off the poll yesterday, and I would respond to your responses today. But unfortunately, since I couldn't post that, I don't have your responses, which sucks because I love when you check in with me. I love being able to go kind of back and forth, not with you, but the idea of what you are feeling. I can't obviously take a call like I do on Sports Talk Radio and say, no, I disagree with this. No, I agree with that. But what I can do is, in theory, see what the majority voted for in a poll and then respond to it. Well, unfortunately, this time I couldn't do that because Twitter was having a bit of an issue and I couldn't get that off the poll posted. So I'll just give you my thoughts on what I brought up yesterday as far as the defensive alignment at shortstop. And the question was, who do you feel more comfortable with defensively at shortstop? Didi Gregorius, Johan Camargo. Me, frankly, I like Didi more than the average Phillies fan, I feel like, and more than the average person who follows the Phillies or covers the team. I'm pro Didi. I think he's a good player. I think he's a strong left-handed bat. I think over the course of the season, he's going to be significantly better than he was last year. And I think he gets a bad rap in this city because of an elbow injury that really hampered him throughout the 2021 season. I think people assumed, oh, he's over the hill, he's washed, he can't play anymore because of that elbow injury. And I really just think he was plagued with a reoccurring painful injury that caused him to not be as good as what his baseline is. I think even if he has an average season, he's going to improve this year. And that counts for both at the plate and defensively. All that being said, Johan Camargo is the better defender of the two players. I trust Johan Camargo significantly more at shortstop than I do Didi Gregorius. And I think the way he started out the season at the dish absolutely allows him to take free reign over that shortstop position. Now, he'll take off days. A lot of these Phillies players have had off days. It's going to happen throughout the season, and Joe Girardi likes to play the numbers. He likes to check the new age analytics, and for better or for worse, he gives these guys a lot of off days to make sure that they're fresh when they play. And I'm not debating whether or not that's right. That's up to him. That's him knowing his players, and I don't know who's coming in and saying the what. I hate the commentary about teams where it's like, oh, why does Rhys Hoskins have an off day on this day? Why does Bryce Harper have an off day on this day? You don't know if Bryce Harper walked in. Well, Bryce is not the type of guy who would walk in and ask for a day off. But you don't know who walked in. Like, yeah, Skip, my shoulder's a little bit sore today. Is it possible I could DH? Or Skip, my shoulder's a little sore today. Just wanted you to know. And then Girardi makes the decision. Okay, well, if so, we had an off day scheduled a couple of days down the line. Take it now, and then we'll get you back out there. You don't know what's going on. It's a long season. There's a lot of wear and tear on the body, so I cannot fault Girardi on that. But what I'm saying is, Johan Camargo, outside of his off days, should be the shortstop for this team until he stops hitting. And Didi Gregorius will get his opportunities, but shouldn't have way too many because Camargo is clearly the best defensive option to me at shortstop, and he may be the best offensive option. Maybe I'm trying to think. Possibly in the infield right now. I know Alec Boehm's on absolute fire, but Johan Camargo started very well as well. So it seems like a no-brainer to play him there, both defensively and offensively. So I was just interested to see if anyone liked what Didi had done defensively to start this year. I was going to go Johan Camargo. I'd imagine that the majority of responders would have gone Johan Camargo on this one, but just something I wanted to throw out there to see where everybody stood. Okay, well, we made it through this episode, and this is the first episode of Locked On Phillies where it felt like I really had to make it through after getting combined no hit against your rival New York Mets. It was a tough one to find something positive to come out of with, but I think the best part about baseball is the fact that you most likely got another game the next day, and the Phillies have another game tonight against the New York Mets at Citi Field. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. You got Ranger Suarez, you got Taijuan Walker, you got an opportunity for a win. Go ahead and take it because you certainly didn't last night. And hopefully they'll give me something good to talk about tomorrow. Before I go, though, I want to thank you again for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Now I want you to make Locked On MLB your second listen. Paul Francis Sullivan, make sure you call him Sully. He's an encyclopedia of baseball knowledge. He knows baseball inside and out, front to back, past, present, maybe even the future. And listen, we just had a nice crossover episode. I always say that about Sully, but getting the chance to talk to him at length for about 40 minutes about the status of Major League Baseball, the Phillies, his experience with the game, there's no one out there that you'd rather listen to commentate on the game of baseball than Sully. So go ahead and check him out, Locked On MLB. He's awesome. It's available wherever you get your podcast. So take the time, search him out, and give him a listen. And I want to thank you for all the likes, reviews, rates, everything like that. If you haven't done that, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitter, check everything out. Like, review, rate, give me that 5 stars, give me the clean reviews. Love it all because you're really helping me out when you do that. It's going above and beyond as a listener because I like to think I go above and beyond as the host of this show. And I appreciate anyone who gives me that love back. So thank you for that. And I want to thank you for listening today. That's all I've got for you. We're going to go ahead and talk tomorrow because I need to have a better show than just talking about the Phillies getting combined no-hit. So with that being said, that's all I've got for you today, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.